Pennsylvania is being considered a battleground state in this election, with experts from both parties saying this could be the state which will be the deciding factor on which party wins the race. Both President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden have spent a number of days in Pennsylvania trying to pick up votes. Those who live in the city tend to be Democrats, while those who live in more rural communities tend to vote Republican. Joe Biden is currently ahead by just 3.6 points in the state, a small margin Democrats are holding on to. President Donald Trump won the state back in 2016 by just 11,000 votes. Rachel Kolchneliak lives in Erie, Pennsylvania, a small community of about 269,000 residents. She says she will be voting for Joe Biden in this election because she does not agree with most of Trump's policies, especially when it comes. They say if Joe Biden wins Pennsylvania, he will win the election. Now, you were voting Democrat this election. Tell me why that is.
I'm a Republican. So I've been a Republican since Obama. I switched over. I'd been a Democrat since I was registered to vote when I was 18 in high school and college. And then I'm not sure why, but I was not excited about a lot of the things that Obama was going to bring to the table. And I switched over to Republican and I voted for John McCain. And honestly, I don't remember who was running against him both times, but I did vote for the Republican both times. And then when this election in 2016 came about, I was willing to listen to Trump and listen to what he had to say, but I still didn't vote for him. I voted for Hillary. I didn't care for Hillary necessarily, and I almost felt like she wasn't going to win just because she was a woman. I really just didn't think that our country was ready yet for a woman president. I voted for her anyway. I almost sat out the election because I didn't care for Trump. But once he was elected, I thought, okay, I'm willing to give him a chance and see what he has to do, what he has to say, what his ideas are. And a lot of people, I guess, I'm not sure what the attraction is to him. I had a big problem with him being a reality star. But we had Ronald Reagan, we've had Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California. So I'm not opposed to it, but I just didn't think that he had he had some good ideas. But then when he started surrounding himself with people that had no prior knowledge of the position they were put in, a lot of people said, a lot of friends of mine that voted for Trump said, we like him. He says it like it is, and he's not a politician. Well, as time went on over the 4 years, I realized, okay, that's great that you might not want a politician, but I go to a surgeon to get surgery done, not my mechanic. So that's kind of my philosophy, is that you may not be, I don't know, I guess if he would have been more of a less radical person in his ideas, what turned me off the most recently is, of course, the way he's handled COVID. People that I know that are voting for Trump that really like him, I call them Trumpanzees, because I feel like they're just, anything he says, they believe. They keep telling me, well, the reason why he did not tell us about it was to avoid panic and us going crazy. And I said, but look at other countries. You see Taiwan, who has very few deaths. They shut things down immediately. They told their people what it was, how it was spread, the dangers of it, and they were on top of things from the very beginning. And I believe they only have like 700 people that have died. And I know they're smaller than the United States, but when you extrapolate those numbers, we probably would have only had 13,000 people die if he would have done the same things. Now, I know that our country the United States, people are very independent and they don't want to listen to people. But I feel that the disinformation that he gave in the very beginning caused people to have these differing ideas and not take it seriously. There's still people who don't believe it's real. They believe the numbers are all made up. They believe that it's like the flu, and they will not hear otherwise. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not voting for him.
On Friday, more than 2,500 new COVID-19 cases were reported in Pennsylvania, the highest daily case count the state has reported yet. The state was just getting a grip on the virus when cases started to rise yet again. Rachel blames the recent uptick in a recent Trump rally in her community, which has already been linked to at least a few cases. Pennsylvania has seen over 2,800 COVID-19 cases so far, with over 8,800 deaths. Health officials in the state say if numbers don't start going down soon, hospitals will be over capacity. They blame the recent rise on holiday get-togethers, a concern as American Thanksgiving approaches. I'll ask you then about the COVID-19 situation in the United States. Obviously, we all know it is terrible. There are so many new deaths every day, so many new cases every day. I'm not too sure what it's like in Pennsylvania, so why don't you tell me a little bit about what it's like in your state and how you think the president has dealt with this global health crisis.
In Pennsylvania, we had a lot of deaths in the beginning due to our governor, who is a Democrat. He put people back in nursing homes that were COVID positive. And I believe that if the president had asked us to wear masks in the very beginning, and if he would have told us how serious this was, I think that some of the Democratic governors like Cuomo in New York and Wolf here in Pennsylvania would have dealt with it a little differently. I don't think they would have put people back into the nursing homes like they did. So Trump pounds on that a lot. I also think that him putting Jared Kushner in charge of PPE, I heard quite a few times, and nobody really talks about this much, but the fact that Jared Kushner and Trump saw in the beginning that it was hitting Democratic states harder in the very beginning, and they felt that by not pushing to close things or to get PPE out to Democratic states, that it would help their election campaign. Now that's backfired because now the red states, geographically, if they would have thought about it, it wasn't going to make sense to do that. First of all, you're hurting American citizens, and that's another reason why I will not vote for Trump, because he pits us against each other. It's blue against red. If you're in a blue state, you're bad. If you're in a red state, you're good. If you vote for him, if you support him, you're good. If you don't, you're bad. We're going to hold money from you. We're going to hold PPE from you. So Jared Kushner, which is his son-in-law, and he saw that the blue states were getting hit the hardest. Well, if you think about it, New York City has one of the biggest airports in the country, and people were coming from China. Actually, people were coming in from Europe and bringing it. Trump may have closed the borders or closed off flights coming in from China, but that was only the nationalists or some people in their government. It wasn't regular people of the Chinese country. They were still coming in, and New York is a big hub, so they were getting hit the hardest. California also is getting hit hard because and it just by happenstance, those are Democratic states. So in their small p brains, they thought, wow, it's hitting the Democrats harder. This is great. We'll try and help that along so that more of their people die and get this. and it'll make us look good because the red states are doing so much better.
And so then would you support having a full mask mandate right across the United States? I know it's something Dr. Fauci has mentioned, that could possibly be a recommendation, is enforcing everyone all across the United States, no matter what state you're in, to wear masks whenever you're out in public places like grocery stores and such. Is that something you would support? And also, what are your thoughts on having a full-blown economic shutdown to try to get COVID-19 case numbers, especially with community transmission, down?
I would definitely be for the mask mandate. As far as a total economic shutdown, I think we've missed the boat now on that. I kept saying from the beginning that what Trump should have done was that $1,500 stimulus check we were supposed to get. He should have shut everything down. The only people that should have gone out for 2 weeks were first responders. If you worked in a hospital, if you were a fireman or a police officer. I think the Walmart should have been shut down. I think every business should have been shut down. I don't think there should have been essential workers, quote unquote, because I was an essential worker and I work for I do purchasing for a plastics company, and we weren't essential. There was nothing we were making that was essential. I think he should have made an announcement and said, on a Thursday, look, come Monday, we're going to shut everything down for 2 weeks. You need to stay in your homes. You need to avoid going out. Every business is going to shut down unless it's a hospital. That's all that's going to be operating. Everyone else needs to shut down, and there would have been grocery stores would have had a run on things. Fine, you can live for 2 weeks off of what you've got in your pantry. And if you can't, then that's where people like the firemen, those types of firemen, police officers, you have a drive-through thing where you can get some food from the food bank if you don't have enough money to get things. There could have been a plan put in place, I think, like other countries did. Shut it down for 2 weeks and then slowly open things up.
Pennsylvanians will be glued to their television screens on November 3rd as results start to come in. While both parties are confident they will win the election, I asked Rachel what she believes the outcome will be.
Now, Erie used to be Democrat and it flipped Republican when Trump ran last time. So our town where I'm at in the northwest corner there on Lake Erie, we did flip. But I see places like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Harrisburg. I think if enough of those voters who I feel like are disgusted with Trump right now, if they can come out and vote. We also have the second highest elderly population in the United States, second only to Florida. I think if a lot of those voters are serious about the COVID situation and want to see something happen, I think that they will be able to flip it blue again. I think the rural voters here, which is amazing to me, they think Trump is the best thing since sliced bread. They love him. Those voters are very Republican. They want, they're one issue voters. They're either pro-choice or they feel like Biden is going to increase their taxes. They can't get it through their head that they don't make $400,000 a year, so you're not going to be taxed more. And even if you do make $400,000 a year, it's an incremental tax. So the first $400,000 is taxed at the same rate it was before.
And so then saying, Pennsylvania in particular does go Democrat, and also Joe Biden wins the election, do you think the state of America as a whole would improve, particularly with issues like the novel coronavirus, which is currently spiraling out of control under the current leadership?
I think that Biden would have a plan that he would put into place to get us more testing. He would require masks at public places and get these Republican governors to conform to some of the mitigating efforts that we need to get it under control. I think Biden would do a much better job in controlling the coronavirus than Trump is. So yeah, I think Pennsylvania and the United States as a whole would be better off with Biden at the helm. And I think a lot of the unrest, the civil unrest that's been happening, would also subside. I think because people would actually see that there's a plan, and that's the thing with Trump. He has no plan. He has no platform he's running on. It's just, elect me again. That's his whole platform. And I see a lot of Republicans are very disappointed in the fact that they don't see the Republican Party anymore as their Republican Party. It's just Trump's. It's Trump's party. He's changed it to be what he wants it to be. And he's looking to become a dictator. He looks up to the dictators that are around the world right now and past dictators, and that's what he aspires to.